And I'll clap 3 times to set it. Say one more thing, one more time.
Yo, what up?
Cool. All right, very good. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
How you doing?
All right, how you been?
Good. Introduce yourself.
Austin Jackson. Lived in Creedmoor all my life. I've been going to this gym for 14 years under different management, through Elliot, Wendy, and then you for the past, how many years?
2017, so 5 years.
Been here the whole time. Love the vibe, the whole gym in general, so never going to leave.
Yeah. No, well, we can start there. Take me through the, not, I guess, talking bad about anybody, but take me through the different versions of the road to fitness to what it is now.
I mean, the whole time it changed through, it changed membership, or ownership, you could say, the whole time, but the whole vibe never really changed, in my opinion, because most of the family, most of the people that we lifted with still stayed, you know what I mean? Like me, Josh, Brandon still when he comes in, some of the older people that still come in, they, some people come and left, but I don't know, it's hard to explain. The feeling's still the same, you know what I mean? Like, which I know it's like that at a lot of gyms as far as for people helping you out and boosting you up or whatever, but I just love the hometown feel of the gym, and that's why, like I said, I'll never go anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of gyms are, like, for instance, let's say we go to a corporate gym.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get that same family vibe, which you were talking to, which is basically brotherhood or, men amongst men. It's that locker room kind of talk in here where you're kind of talking smack to each other, but you respect each other and you're here to make each other better. So that is the vibe. That's the thing different about a small, privately owned gym that you're not going to get.
Well, see, that's what I love. And like, you come in and, say if you go to a Planet Fitness or a Big Goals gym or something like that, and you're just a number to them, you know what I mean? And you come here and you're like, I might walk in and be like, hey man, you gonna hit 4 or 5 today? You're like, you know what I mean? Like, you're invested in what I'm doing just as much as I'm invested in this, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So it makes everybody feel better.
Yeah. Everybody's bought in. It's a together feeling. Yeah. So how did you get into fitness?
Well, it started in high school. I say I started. You remember some because you were there, working out for football, but never took it serious. Graduated high school. My best friend Brandon, he started working at this gym. It was the Road to Fitness then when we were at the other location, and I just wanted to hang out with my best friend, so I started coming out with him in the mornings and started working out and slowly started seeing some gains, and I just got addicted. Remember the first time I ever got 225, I was like, man, if I get 225, I'll be good on bench. And then I'm like, man, I really want 315. Like, yeah. If I get 315, I'll be good. And it just keeps going and going, cascading. But then I don't. I say it keeps cascading, but it keeps getting more serious. Like, you want more, and then it's like it's never enough. But I feel like that's kind of how I live my whole life is it's never enough. Like, you know what I mean? I want more.
Yeah. That's kind of. I want to get into a couple of different things there, so I got to remember. But the gym is almost like an unlocking of your potential.
Oh, for sure. Because you never know what you can do till you try. You know what I mean? And until you get pushed down to the floor and you get the bench press pinned on you, you don't know what you got in you. You hit another gear, you're like, man, this thing's about to pin me, and then you push through, and you're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, right. Because you, like you said, you first get in here and you're benching 225, and you're just ecstatic with the world with that. But through perseverance, through hard work, through discipline, all those things, you can go higher, you can go more, and then that is so addicting, and then that starts relaying itself everywhere else in your life.
For sure. It shows that you can push through, and man, if I can do this in the gym, what about work? What about the house? What about everything? And which I credit the gym and, to be honest, football for kind of like how I am the way I am. Like, you know what I mean? As far as what drives me to be the way I am. I owe a lot, I feel like, to our coaches that we had. I feel like we had a great coaching staff, and I feel like it really drove me to be better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's go through those football days. So you started out as a freshman. From my understanding, you went through 2 different coaches, right?
Yeah, I had Coach Summers our freshman year, and then sophomore year, Coach Hobgood and his coaching staff came on. Coach Smith, Coach Billups, Coach Eccles.
Take me through the difference of the 2.
A whole world of difference, man. Like, Coach Summers, he didn't give a shit. Like, they were, I think the last 3 or 4 years they won 1 game. You know, they didn't care. The first year with Coach Hobgood, we won 3 games. You know what I mean? Just the whole feeling was like, you know, he was investing his whole self into the program, and I feel like Coach Summers was just there. You know what I mean?
Just to feel the
just
role.
to feel, yeah. And we had Coach Summers had Coach May, but Coach May stayed for a little while with Coach Hobgood. But I remember I've lived like my whole life by this quote I'm about to say. Like, it was one of the Vince Lombardi rules. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, or I'm sorry, yeah. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, don't even bother showing up. And he said it to me my freshman year at the football camp we went to it, and it shit just stuck with me. And I legit lived the rest of my life like I'm always gonna be early. Because it shows, for one, it shows you respect the other person, whoever you're meeting, whatever you're doing, you value their time, and it shows that you want to be there. So I just stuck to it.
Yeah. What about the difference of I guess, so Coach Summers, he doesn't, I'm not going to say he doesn't really care, but he's there collecting the check. Maybe he's tired. I mean, who knows? But then Coach Hobgood gets there, and it's more structured, it's more organized. What can we take from the two different stories, I guess, or what are some lessons you learned maybe through the bad coaches? And then I know you told me one about the late, the on time thing, but give me some more deeper lessons. That
Coach Summers, I feel like, you know, was kind of this. I hope he never hears this. It's just like,
shout out Coach Summers.
Yeah, what up, though? I feel like he's kind of an example of some of the people that you run across in your life that are completely fine with where they're at. Like, you know what I mean? They don't care if they go higher, lower, whatever. They're just there. I feel like Coach Hobgood is somebody who was always striving to be the best, you know. And I see Coach Hobgood every week at church. We see him in here when he comes and works out, and I feel like he legit just wants the best, you know, and it makes you want the best. I feel like whenever your coach is, you can feel your coach is invested in you, it's going to make you want to be invested, you know. And with Coach Summers, you just didn't feel that.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about football, more of the game, or you know.
Man, it's a brotherhood, man.
Yeah, there's nothing like that. I
feel like I could run across some of the guys we used to play football with, and if something was popping off and I was about to get in a fight or what, I feel like any one of them would still come running over, and it'd be the same way. And I know it's a crazy analogy, but like we were just so close, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's people that you would never hang out with probably outside of the sport, but then you get so close, you know, basically dying out there at practice, you know, hell week. You're sitting there running 360s, doing all this stuff, you're throwing up. But your whole time you're doing it together, and it makes us closer, and it makes the sport better, and it makes you better as a person in general.
There's something about suffering together which bonds people that I think people are forgetting, especially with the way the world is going, and you don't realize that until you play a sport. But you're not going to learn that playing for like a Coach Summers. You're only going to learn that playing from a Coach Hobgood, somebody that's going to, you know, it's Saturday morning, and for some reason we got to do 300s today.
Yeah.
Just because it's Saturday morning, maybe he wants us to suffer a little bit. And then you're there, and then the buddy next to you is there, and then he's there, and he's there, and he's there, and you all going through the same emotion. This fucking sucks, and I want to quit.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
You want to quit, but
nobody quits.
But nobody quits. It's just this agreement that we're all in this together.
That's
we're not going to quit, and you know. And that just makes you care for them more because you've seen them in vulnerable states where they want to quit and they didn't. And it's
just the feeling of somebody having your back all the time. Like, you know what I mean? I remember we were playing Northern Vance, and I was playing wide receiver, and this cornerback was just dealing with me. I mean, he done drove me to the ground like 3 times, you know, and Tajay come over and just trucked him. Trucked him. And I was like, that's right, bitch. But I knowing good well, I hadn't done anything, you know, but Tajay did.
Your boys got you.
That's right.
Your boys got your back.
I'm like, ooh, thank God. Get him off me for one play. You know what I mean? But
that's hilarious.
It's hard to explain. Somebody who hadn't experienced that kind of, you know, togetherness, they wouldn't understand. But like, we were sitting there bowling maybe like 3 or 4 months. We went bowling in Raleigh. Tony Cole comes up. I'm like, what's up, man? And it's like we hadn't missed a beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I saw Javon. You remember Javon?
Yep.
I saw him at Food Line, and it's like everybody's still close. You know what I mean? Because they know, like you said, what we all went through together, and it's a bond that I don't think it ever be broke.
No, I don't either. Talk about a little bit about the different man you are. I mean, it's totally different. You're almost 15 years older, but just that kid that's getting pounded by that wide receiver or whatever to who you are now. I mean, it's
I
hard
wish
to
I
put
could
it.
go back.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's hard to put it.
It's
into
crazy.
perspective.
They're sitting there riding our ass, telling us to lift these weights and stuff. Then, and you're like, I don't care about this. I'm ready for practice to be over. And just looking back, because obviously I had a little bit of potential, for if I could have lifted weights. Because I graduated at 135 pounds. I'm 215 now. You know what I mean? Like if I could have took it serious, I feel like I'm, maybe could have done something different. I ain't saying I could play anywhere or anything. Just took it more serious. The whole experience overall.
It would have made you more fulfilled with
exactly, because then I could look back and be like, well, I really gave them all. Because I feel like the older I get, the more I want to be invested in everything 100%. Like if I'm doing, I don't care if I'm shoveling shit. That's my job. I want to be the best one,
Yeah.
And I feel like back then I really didn't have that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why. I mean,
do you think any kid? Do you think? I mean, some kids. It's rare. It's rare because you're so into, I guess, the high school lifestyle.
Yeah.
You want girlfriends. You want to go out with your friends. It's just you want to do everything. You're at school all day, and
it's hard, man. And I think there might be some rare occurrences where people do, or maybe somebody might look like they do, but maybe they're just a genetic freak or something. You know what I mean? Maybe they're just that much above everybody else. But I don't. Like you said, everyone's trying to live that high school experience, and then everyone's, oh, you're gonna miss these days. Like, yeah, you're damn right. I wish I could go back and do a lot of things different.
Well, some of that also depends on your parents too, right? Because they don't know what it takes to be a great football player or whatever, and they just want you to have a good time while you're in high school and stuff. And you don't really know what you want either. But now that you're older a little bit, I guess there's one thing you do want is you don't want to feel like that again. Whereas I didn't give my best, and I feel like there's something left on the table. So now it's like, this is the feeling I'm trying to avoid the rest of my life.
I want to be able to lay down at night and be like, yep. I mean, I might have lost today, but guess what? I did everything.
Right.
And that's what I try to relay to my son, as far as for sports and stuff. Like, I'll never get mad at you if you're trying hard. If you're trying, I don't care if we lose, you get out, strike out, whatever. If you're trying, that's fine. But the second you don't try, that's when we have a problem. And like I said, I just wish I would have had that mentality the whole time. Yeah. I mean, I always had heart, I mean.
You did. You worked hard because, I was there with you. I know what working hard looks like. It's just there was more on the table.
Yeah.
There was more on the table because you were already, most of the people are working here. You're here, but you can still, even though I'm working my ass off to get everybody else to this level, this kid over here can still go here.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And that's hard. That's just.
I think one thing that kind of played into it was, how small I felt. Like, I was just small, and it's crazy. I'm faster now than I was in high school, which I'm heavier, but I'm still faster. Like, I wasn't really fast, wasn't big, but all I care about was playing football. Yeah. So, you could knock me down 17 times, I'd get up every time. But, like I said, I just wish I could go back and make it.
And it goes back to that weightlifting story. You want to tell that weightlifting story? Me, you, and Justin Williams? Oh, God. Well, because we didn't know. We didn't know.
Nobody will see. Yeah. And that, I kind of blame that a little bit on Coach Hop. He's like, they should have pushed us a little bit more as far as for.
Yeah.
We were sitting there bench pressing. We had 155 pounds on the bench press. You, me, Justin Williams. 3 weeks in a row, we were doing the same weight for 3 reps or 5 reps, whatever it was. I can't remember. Coach Hopgood comes over there cussing, asking if we're ever going to go up in weight. And I think we had on like a 2.5 on each side, just being a smart ass. But that's how, because that just shows how we didn't take it serious.
Yeah.
And because I remember coming back at football practice like 3 or 4 years after I graduated, and I done put on some size, and he said, "Damn, you want to lift weights now?" I know, I wish I would have,
Yeah.
But it's crazy because if you try to talk to somebody in high school and I don't feel that old.
Right.
I feel like I can still relate. You know what I mean? But it's like, they're like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? I'm like, I'm trying to tell you because I was there.
Right. And I know what's possible based off me now.
Yeah, exactly. And you see people or kids with potential, you're like, man, I want you to push, but like they're in the same spot we were, trying to live the high school life,
Yeah.
You just I don't ever want to, I hate seeing wasted talent, Yeah. I feel like we saw a bunch of wasted talent throughout the years of high school or football, and I just don't want to see that.
Go into being a father, because this is now your role with your kids, because there's a there's a balancing there or something, right? Because it's how far do you push them? How much do you push them versus how much do you let them enjoy being a kid? Now I know your kids are young, but eventually they're going to be 14 years old, first year in high school, and he's going to want to play football maybe, or whatever sport it is. Maybe he wants to play golf, whatever.
I mean, I might be kind of hard, but it's hard to explain. Like, you just want the best for him no matter what. You know what I mean? If he wants to play volleyball, I don't care. You know what I mean? Whatever he wants to play, I want him to do his best at it. So you don't shove him at it. You kind of just try to steer him that way. You know what I mean? And like, I got him to play flag football, and he didn't like it. So I was like, look, well, we're not going to quit. Like, he said it after the first game that he didn't like it. I was like, well, we're not going to quit. We're going to play the season, and if you don't like it, we won't sign up for it again. But I never mentioned football again. That was 2 years ago, and last week he said he wanted to play football. So, like I said, maybe that's what it is. So, like, I feel like the second you try to drive them to do something they don't want to do, it's just going to make them not care about it and not want to do it. And if you have a kid out there that doesn't want to be there, then they're not going to try. You're going to risk injury, risk ruin that sport for the rest of their life because they don't want it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like, I love him playing baseball. He loves baseball. But if he tells me he wants to stop playing baseball, I'll just say, okay, because maybe he'll come back around.
Right.
He's too young. Like, 8 years old is too young to make them play.
Right. For sure.
And like I said, the main thing is just him being whatever it is he wants to do, committing to it and doing it.
Yeah. How is that? How is being a dad? How is that role for you?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It gets super stressful. It's crazy how you can love something so much and want to strangle it sometimes at the same time. But there's nothing like coming home, them yelling, "Daddy, Daddy," running up to you, hugging you. Just the feeling is hard to explain. And watching them play sports, watching them, it's crazy. I feel like you could probably coach him better than I could, because I feel like he's not taking it as serious for me because I'm his dad saying it, but you can say something to him and he'll do it or whatever. But then this past year playing baseball, it's like it's starting to click. You see the wheels start turning. He's starting to make plays without you yelling at him, telling him to do something, and watching him grow from T-ball. You know what I mean? It's just awesome, just to watch him grow.
Yeah. Talk about your work a little bit, because I know your work is demanding and you have to make some sacrifices. So take us down that path.
So,
or, what it is you do for people that may not know.
I'm a lineman for Duke Energy. I've been there for 13 years this past September, so a little over 13 years, and super demanding. Being on call once a month for a week, so it's 24/7 for that week. My phone rings. I have to go to work, which you see and hear a lot of times. Probably see me throw my bag down, start cussing, and I head back to the truck. It's really stressful, but it's a great job. I love actually being a lineman. I think I like it so much because I like doing something that other people wouldn't do. You know what I mean? Like, it just kind of gives me that man feeling. Like, you know what I mean? As far as for the work, it's when it's hot, it's hot. When it's cold, it's cold. You know what I mean? It's hard to come in here and bust my ass in the gym after I've been working outside for 10 hours, sweating my balls off in the summer, but I feel like there's going to be a change here soon as far as for doing a different thing, because it's hard with the kids. Like last Christmas, I was on call, worked 17 hours on Christmas Day. And the last time I got called out, Wyatt comes up to me crying, "Why do you have to go back to work? Why do you have to go back to work?" I said, "Well, somebody's lights are out." And he said, "Well, it's Christmas. Don't you know Christmas is about spending time with your kids or with your family?" I'm like, damn, he's right. So as they're getting older, I feel like I need to do something different so I can be around more, because the sports are only going to get more. Olivia's going to start playing sports. I can't keep doing it forever. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people who do it the whole career, and kudos to them, but it's not going to be me, because I don't want to miss any more Christmases. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the job is great. It's just, like you said, it's demanding.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine doing something like that. And of course, I could see how it would give you some bravado, because something about being a man and doing tough shit
makes you feel
good.
Rewarding.
You know what I mean? That's almost subconsciously why you work out. Of course, you work out because it doesn't feel good in the moment, but then you look in the mirror and you're like, I'll look better than 80% of the population. This is good stuff. I'll keep going through the suffering to get the reward.
It's like I want to look good, but at the same time, I don't give a shit if I look good to you. You're like, you know what I mean? I want to look good to me.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. And once I get that feeling, that's all I want. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And some people ego lift or whatever, live for the numbers or whatever. I'm to the point now, I just want, I want to sustain and make a little progress as I can, but I'm not trying to kill myself anymore.
Yeah, speaking of killing yourself,
yeah,
let's get into, you recently tore your pec.
Yeah, that was in March.
It was like
on second week in March on a Sunday.
Before yoga class.
I was on call. I had worked 22 of the last 24 hours. I got off work, and I was like, man, it's chest day. I'm going to meet Kurt up here. We're going to do chest. And I come in, so like I said, I've been working 22 of the last 24 hours, and then my first set on bench, 365, got it for 4, felt great. Kurt was like, man, you going to go to 4 or 5? I was like, no, I'm doing another set of 365. The very first rep, it was just like one of those videos you see. My whole everything just came to the center. I like fell off the bench hollering. You know, it was pretty rough. I had surgery April 5th of this year, and I'm just now getting back to where I can bench decently.
How was that process of going from torn pec to not being able to work out to finally being able to bench?
Well, at first it was super depressing. Like, you know what I'm at?
Well, tell us why. Well, like why? I mean, what makes that kind of?
You get somebody like us who gets. I mean, basically, this is what we do: come to the gym, work out. You know, this is my stress relief. This is my getaway. This is my, you know, make my day. And all of a sudden, you're like, man, I might not be able to do it for 6 months. You know, and she's like, oh, you can't lift anything more than a coffee cup for whatever it was, 2 months or something like that. And I'm like, man, how am I going to do that? You know what I mean? So I stayed out of the gym for a week, but then I told you, I was like, I'm going to try to squat every day. I'm going to do squats every day, use a safety bar. And that's what I did. Because like I said, it was a real mind fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Because I feel like I'd been making all this progress, or at least sustaining. I wasn't necessarily, you know, killing or whatever, but I was happy with where I was at. And all of a sudden, I feel like I'm going to lose everything. I'm like, my whole chest is going to be deformed, you know, or maybe not be able to bench anymore, you know. And it really just sent me down a kind of a dark road for a little while, because this is basically what I do.
Yeah.
But everything worked out good, you know.
Thank God you could still squat, right?
I mean, if I wouldn't, I don't know what I'd have done. I think even that week I took off, I still came in here just to say, you know, just because this is why I come. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even just coming in here and not lifting any weights made me feel better. But then coming in the next week and start doing, I think I might have waited 2 weeks. Well, it was at least a week. But either way, I started doing squats every day, squats, and it worked out because now I'm squat strong. You know what I mean? So it's lost some bench but gained some squats, so that's all right.
Yeah, the lack of sleep has got to do something. Well, how do you feel about that? As far as
I feel like that had something to do with it, like, you know, because I feel like I was super fatigued, and obviously when you're fatigued on bench, you're going to flare, and I feel like the flare had something to do with it tearing, and it was stupid to come in, but I hate missing days. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, it's Sunday. It was our chest day for that rotation, and I was like, I don't want to miss. Let's go ahead and work out. I regretted it.
Yeah. And sleep, and this is not just something that's random, us not getting sleep.
No, that's
this is kind of a regular deal.
Kind of used to it, you know. I think the longest I've worked straight for them, I worked 36 hours straight one time. But I done got to the point where I was so stupid, if you told me to go grab that damn dumbbell right there, I wouldn't know what you're talking about. Like, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was just set in.
Wow.
And I slept for 17 hours straight after that.
Goodness.
Yes.
God.
And which luckily crazy. that was in the first couple of years of me working there. They've changed the ways a lot. Like now, if it's a big storm and we know we can't get everybody home that night, they're gonna send everybody home at 11 o'clock and come back at 6 in the morning. So at least you get some sleep. You know, they don't try to drive us on the ground like they used to. But I definitely feel like the sleep had something to do. The fatigue had something to do with it. I should have just listened and took the day off.
The day off, yeah.
It's hard to do,
easier said than done.
Yeah.
Easier said than done.
I hate off days.
Yeah. What about nutrition? What do you kind of do with as far as that, or what's your protocol? You know,
I'm not gonna lie. Here the past month, I've been terrible. I try. I got a couple meal plans from Craig, and they've worked great. But it's when I'm dedicated, and when I fall off, I fall off. Like I try to at least follow it 5 days a week. 2 cheat days is kind of rough, but it's better than 7 cheat days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I like the basics. I mean, basically, I'm turkey and rice, and I'm fine with that every day. I love it. I mean, ground turkey and rice to me is awesome.
Why do you think you love it? Do you think you love the routine of it, the easiness of it?
Easiness of it. It takes no time to cook. You know what I mean? I see these people meal prepping all these, ridiculous meals. I'm like, man, it looks good, but you spent 7 hours cooking it.
Right.
Like I don't care.
Or you cook today and then you cook tomorrow and then you cook the next day.
No, I don't have time.
Cook multiple meals. It's like I just got off work. I hit the gym, and now my son's got a baseball game.
That's right. So I got to have a Tupperware thing of ground turkey.
And I got to make 6 things of ground turkey and rice.
Yeah.
So I can just grab one and go. I know what I got going on tomorrow and the next day. So I got those for the dinners the next 2 days.
It does get monotonous, but I mean, at the same time, I actually still enjoy it. So I told myself when I stop enjoying the food, then I'll do something different. Okay. I mix it up, put peppers and onions and teriyaki sauce or hot sauce or sriracha sauce or whatever to kind of mix it up. But it's one of the cheaper things, and it's easy.
What about the way it makes you feel, right?
Oh, the way it makes you feel is crazy.
Oh, my God.
Like I tell the guys at work, who are working out or whatever, I'm like, I'm telling you, you can feel the difference the first week of eating clean. I mean, your whole body, your awareness, the way you're sleeping, like just everything. And within 2 weeks, you can physically see a difference.
Right. I mean, this is a little on the personal, but even your bowel movements start getting cleaner and stuff.
For sure.
It's like
it gets to where if you go to eat Bojangles one time, it's going to be out of you in 30 minutes because your body's like, it's not supposed to be here.
Right.
And that's a great feeling. To know that you're. It makes you feel good because it's like even my body knows it's supposed to be healthy.
Yeah, I got a nice tank in here.
But it's nothing like when it's hard to stick on it. I think the reason it's been hard for me lately, as far as for my nutrition, is that I don't have like an end goal. As far as for like, I'm not shooting for a meet or a competition or anything like that. So it's kind of hard when somebody puts a pizza in front of me, like, hey, why don't you have a piece of pizza? I really don't know. I can't have a piece of pizza. I need to set some kind of date or something for an event or something just to help them drive me to it. It's so much easier with a goal.
Kind of getting like a grind or getting like a flow of giving it a good effort.
Good go. That's right.
Yeah.
It's hard to put yourself through turkey and rice every minute. For no fucking reason.
Right. Friday night, you just got to call up to the boys and we got beers tonight.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I mean, not saying you should turn that down anyway, but let's say a random Wednesday night where you're just being lazy and don't want to cook, and you're like, yeah, let's just order Mexican tonight, whatever.
And another thing that makes it hard is, when you're the only one in there in the house, doing it. So it's like, man, I got to eat this and then maybe cook something for them or they're going to cook something different, and I'm over here eating my shit like, what y'all got,
Right.
So
right. They got the mac and cheese and stuff.
without an end goal, it makes it super hard. Which I mean, even if I just say just for the summer working up to next summer, say I want abs for next summer, just something.
Yeah, but
just to drive.
Yeah, it's got to be something you sign up for though. Still, even though because that's not enough. It's like
it's just hard. I want
abs all the time.
Yeah. The older I get, the less I care about abs all the time.
For sure.
It's like.
But it's something about that competition that I don't know. I need it too. I need it too.
Well, I mean, because it makes you. Which I mean, you're very similar. So I mean, when you got that goal, you're like, I'm gonna get that goal. I'm gonna make it to that. So it just makes it so much easier to buckle down.
Well, once you sign your name on the deed, it's done.
Yeah, that's
right. It's time to buckle up and do what you need to do to get that.
Once I convince myself I'm gonna do it, like you're not gonna beat me at that. Like I'm gonna do it. Yeah. But it's just making that.
What kind of event do you think you even want to do, or would you?
I really want to do a bodybuilding event.
Okay,
I do.
All right, you kind of whispered that a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't want anybody to hear that. Don't listen, Craig.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good goal.
I do, man, because obviously I'm not going to bench heavy anymore. And so I say that. I mean, I've worked up to 225 doing sets of 20. And I told myself I'm only going to go over 225 until a year after surgery. But even still, now all I can think about every time I bench is my other pec, my other side.
Right.
And I just don't want to experience all that again. I mean, I'll squat heavy, I'll deadlift heavy, whatever. Maybe it's all in my mind, but your mind is hard to beat, So I'd love to be able to get in the bench heavy again, but I don't know where I'm at
right now. Is that risk worth the reward? You know what I mean? Sometimes that's the question you have to ask.
It's hard, and when I can do 3 sets of 20 on 225 and do high volume on my chest days and get good results, then it's hard to justify if I'm not going for it.
Why
you know what I mean? Why risk it?
Yeah.
So that's why I think I'd rather lean towards like a physique show or something like that, just to prove that I could do it.
And I tell people this all the time. That was the best thing I ever did, was do it and give it my best at it. Like just getting that peak shape. I don't ever feel the need to do it again, because it's almost like you do something. Let's say you're doing golf, right? You're super into golf. All right. Let's say you've been playing all these years, and finally one day, maybe you shoot like a 75. I mean, I know that would be nice, right? And it would be addictive. You probably want to go more, but at what point is it like, I gave golf my best go, and I'm happy with the work I put in, and it's like, it's time for me to move on to something else.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of bodybuilding did for me. I did it to the best of my ability. I felt like that era was over because I knew the commitment and the dedication it would take, and where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
It would be too much.
Yeah.
So I had to sacrifice that to pursue the business goal or whatever. Yeah, for sure. But that bodybuilding, I'm not saying you need the confidence, but it gave me the confidence I needed to be like, I can do really hard things.
Yeah.
And I can do it at a great clip or at a great rate. So I feel good about that. I don't have any regrets. It's not like that football feeling where I feel like it could have gave more. Time for me to move on to my next thing, because it does take a lot. Like if you sign up, this is what I'd recommend: do one and do it the best you can.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it's going to be in the back of your mind always. It's going to be like, I could give it a little bit more.
Like I said, I don't want to do it just to prove that I can do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
to prove to yourself,
just do it.
Yeah, and get that pic. Be on the beach one time. And be like,
that's right.
Shredded one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shredded.
Yeah.
I haven't had abs in years. That's what I want. Obviously, not necessarily abs, but I just want to be able to.
Oh, you'd get them if you did it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, get that confidence boost from it. Yeah.
Which, I mean, I think that's always been something I struggled with, was my self-image or confidence. And the gym has obviously, helped me out greatly with that. But just having the confidence to stand on stage and be like, yep, this is me. You know what I mean?
This is me, front and center.
I just want to be able to do it.
Oof. Yeah. I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, and it's gonna be a deep question. Tell me what a man is to you.
A man, first and foremost. Well, it's hard to say. There's two different versions. So.
It's okay to have your version. What is your version of a man? Because I know there's something you look into in the mirror every day, and there's something you stand up to, and people may not agree with it or whatever, but this is your version of a man. This is what makes you happy. So
first and foremost, to me, a man is going to be somebody that provides for his family, wife or kids, and doesn't mind hard work and not willing to stand on his word and fight on those words. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, this not backing down. So whether it be, I don't mean physical altercations is what I just mean in general. Like, this is me. Y'all can like me or not. That doesn't matter, as long as I'm gonna be here, provide for my family, and that's it. Because the older I get, the more no nonsense I am. Like, you know what I mean? I already don't have a filter, so most of the time that makes it kind of rough sometimes. But also, the older I get, the more I respect people without a filter, because they tell you how it is, and that's it. But being able to look yourself in the mirror and be like, yep, I gave today a hard day's work. My family's provided for. Kids are sleeping good. That's all I want. I don't care about luxurious stuff, luxurious stuff. I just want to be able to provide for my family and make sure they have a good life.
Yeah, I really wanted to get in that because I know you have a manliness about you, and some people, It's one of the things. It's my biggest problem with society today. I think men aren't men anymore.
Oh, for sure.
And I think once they do become men, or they do start standing up for themselves, I think things start falling into place a little bit better. Because men, in my version, like it or not, I think they are the leaders of the world, and you know, you need to stand up and lead and be an example and do all those things you mentioned.
The thing is, they're men are losing personal accountability, and I feel like 70% at least of the shit that goes on or that's wrong today could be fixed with common sense and personal accountability. Like, you know what I mean? If somebody fucks up at work, well, so and so told me to, or so and so, it's not my fault. They told me to. Like, just people owning up their own actions. Like, hey, I messed up. I'll do better next time. At least you acknowledge that you messed up. You know, but people don't have personal accountability anymore. They're more worried about so and so down the street, or why am I getting pulled over? Why am I getting arrested? Why? Maybe because you did something wrong. That's it.
And there's nothing you're going to get out by putting the blame on somebody else.
No.
There's nothing you can get from that. You've got to get it from putting all the onus on yourself so you can learn from your mistakes. Nobody is perfect. And understand, like, you are going to make mistakes, and that's fine. But you got to own up to these mistakes. Right. And if you're not doing everything right, then maybe it's somebody else's fault. But you still don't say, you know what I mean?
How do you come back from that mistake?
Right.
Do you get better? Or do you do it again? You know what I mean? Some people fall back.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's when you just dig in and be like, hey, man, I'm going to do better.
Yeah.
That's what I just want to do better at everything.
How do you I know we talked about the kid a little bit. How do you instill this into your kids? Is it?
I try to never let him see me quit, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? I want him sounds stupid. I want him to think like, Dad's a badass. That's what I want. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want him to, well, I say not to cry in front of him, you know, somebody passes away or whatever, but I know it's kind of old school, but just kids, I feel like they cry, you know, over the most ridiculous stuff or whatever. And at some point, like, you know, you realize, you know, I shouldn't be crying right now. Like, you know what I mean? Or, hey, don't get me wrong, it's okay for men to cry, but I think there's a time and a place for it.
Yeah.
And I just want him to see me be a man, want him to learn how to be a man from everything that I do. Like I said, not quitting, working hard, just having something to look up to.
Talk about how your dad maybe taught you these things, because you had to learn from somewhere. Talk about your relationship with your dad.
I've seen my dad cry one time, and it was at my grandpa's funeral. And my dad could care less about sports. I wrestled in middle school, played baseball in middle school, wrestled baseball and football in high school, played football all 4 years. He came to one football game, and he said, well, I'm just not into sports. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, that's bullshit. Like, I'm into it, you should be into it. Like, you know, and that's the way I'm treating Wyatt. Like, if you're into it, I'm into it, because I know how it made me feel not having him there for me. Like, you know what I mean? But then I got my stepdad, and if I called my stepdad right now and told him I had a ping pong game tomorrow, he'd be there. You know what I mean? It just shows you two different men. Like, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I love my dad. We have a great relationship. But me and my stepdad, he's there for me no matter what. And I feel like I'm truly blessed as far as that goes.
Yeah, there's one thing you can learn from the other. It's the good thing about, I guess, having two parental figures in your life, coaches and all that. You can pick up what you do like and what you don't like.
That's
and
right.
You can teach those on in your life, whether it be to your crew or to your kids. Or,
well, I mean, it's like even though, like I said, every away game, everything, my stepdad and my mom were there, but even still, you're like, man, I wish my dad was here. Like, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, that part was kind of rough. Like I said, we have a great relationship now. I actually live across the street from him now. So, I mean, get to see him, but he's in bad health, but I still get to see him every day. But I know how it made me feel not having him there, and I just want my kids to know I'm always going to be there, no matter what.
Yeah. A core tenet of being a man.
Like, no matter what it is, like I said.
Yeah. So, hopefully, bodybuilding show coming one day. Is there any other future plans? I know you're talking about the job a little bit. Is there anything else on the horizon for you?
I think I'm putting in for a different style job with the same company. To be honest, I really want to do something on my own.
Like, we can get into that. So you're doing a little woodworking.
Oh yeah, my benches.
Yeah, tell me about this, man.
I don't know, man. I
Yeah.
just
How'd you get into it? What made you say one
I
day?
saw a post on TikTok, and
Okay.
it was it was basically like if you look at my TikTok, my For You page or whatever, it's literally golf, woodworking, and basketball. Like it's just like all the stuff I'm always watching. And the dude was making some benches, basically the same style I started messing with. And I said, man, working with when I was growing up with my stepdad or whatever, he can fix anything, he can make anything, he can build anything. Like so, we were always working on it. And I said, man, I used to love working on wood. I just want to get some wood. So my dad's got a sawmill, and I actually ended up getting some wood from somebody else, and we cut some slabs and just started messing with it. Just get out there, and I'm standing on the same piece of wood for 3 hours. You know what I mean? Earbuds in, just going to town.
Yeah.
And I don't know, something makes you feel good about making something. Like, you know what I mean? Especially when you make it in it and it looks good. And then took it to the auction at the auction for like almost $300. Like, man, this is pretty cool. Like, and then I'm gonna make another one. I'm making another one. And now I got an idea. I want to make like a kitchen table out of some. I'm looking up stuff, and it's relaxing to me. Like,
it's almost like mowing grass.
It's
like you're just
chill.
You're not doing anything. You got a project on you, and it's like a meditation almost. It's like you're running that sander up and down, and it's a little labor to it, but it ain't.
Yeah, it's not labor intensive.
Right,
You know what I mean? It's just the fact that you have to do it, but at the same time, you can like look and see what it started with, and look and see what it is when you're through with it, and you get a sense of accomplishment, just like anything.
Yeah,
it makes you feel good.
Yeah. So you do benches, just tell me how you displayed it, like at the end of your bed and stuff. That's
Yeah, it's a bedroom bench is what I was doing.
That's your first one. Anyway.
I made 3 of them so far.
Okay.
Just basically go at the end of the bed, which I don't know about you, but it's getting harder and harder to like bend down and put my socks on.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so you got like a bench you can sit on and put your socks on,
right.
or set your covers on it, or have them folded up on there, or probably folded up clothes.
And you just sell them at an auction. Oh.
Well, this was just a church auction or whatever.
Okay.
But I'm just gonna put them on Marketplace.
Yeah, hell yeah, and you need to create you an Instagram for it.
That's
too.
what I thought.
Yeah,
get it out there.
Oh man, that would be perfect.
Anything I can do to make money, like away from big companies, like I want to do. Like, you know what I mean? That's one thing that gets me about working with where I work is that I'm just tired of being a number. You know what I mean? And the feeling of accomplishment and making your own money, making your own stuff, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah. Well, good for you, and hopefully you have good success with that.
I hope so.
Anything else you want to kind of talk about before we wrap up?
No, I would just appreciate you letting me come on and talk.
Yeah, I had fun. I like doing these. I think the thing that makes me most excited doing these is just getting close. Not saying I'm not close with you, but as I get to more people that I don't really talk to or that are members of the gym, it's just, I don't know, it's like a bond we create.
That's
or
right.
I feel we can talk about your woodworking next week, or I can talk about Wyatt every time he comes in here. And that's good. Because I do care about it.
Speaking about Wyatt, he was super pissed that he could not come with me to the gym tonight.
Was he? Yeah. Because the other day he was working out hard. He was doing like running on the treadmill, and you had him doing some push-ups.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. It's been going on since the last couple of games of baseball. Like
Is it because he's seeing it? He's like getting better.
I think he sees that he's getting better, but at the same time, I think he wants to work out because, he's a short kid and he's a solid kid. Like, he's 85 pounds, and I think he
almost weighs more than you in high school.
Yeah, no lie, right? But it's like, it is sad to think about. Like, he actually has. I honestly feel like he has like a self-image issue already because he's short and he hasn't really hit like the growth spurt that his cousins hit yet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's starting to mess with him. So like he's like, Dad, let's go run and play football. Let's go run. Dad, let's do the agility ladder. Dad, let's do some push-ups. Dad, let's do some squats. And which I love that, but I want him to want it not because he feels like he's overweight or whatever, because he's not.
Because he's not. No, at all.
He's just a solid.
He's just a thick
kid.
Boy. Yeah.
And I told him, I said, dude, you're gonna be great at sports. You just got to grow into whatever it's gonna be.
Right.
And like I said, I just don't want him to feel like that. That's a terrible feeling.
Yeah. One more thing too. What about Olivia? Tell me how that is. Tell me how you got a little girl too. How old is she now?
She's 3.
Okay.
She's way tougher than Wyatt. Don't get me wrong, Wyatt's a tough kid, but she's tough and she's gonna be a handful. completely different.
There's something about me when I train women and versus when I train men. Women go so much harder. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I don't train a bunch of older men, but there's some I do. But most of the time, it's like high school age, or I have one guy that's a little bit older. But the women, man, they just show up and go crazy. I don't know what that is.
It's just genetically they're different, man.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they're bred for childbirth or whatever, but they're just different.
Yeah. Well,
from birth, she was, they're completely different kids.
I think because most men, if they're going for it, like most men, if they're going to go hard, they're generally going to do it by themselves, and they want to figure it out themselves. You know what I mean? I think those are. So I'm not getting that clientele, which is, I'm not saying that's wrong, or maybe somebody just doesn't want to think about it, just wants to come in here and get a trainer and just like, hey, you do that. Let me just focus on my job and my life, and you focus on training me. But yeah, so that is interesting. So, she's tough.
She's super tough. She doesn't listen. I mean, you can tell her no, and she just keeps going on like you're not even speaking. And it's like, what is going on? Yeah. Or she'll tell you no. I'm like, what? Who are you talking to? But she gets it from Wyatt too, because Wyatt's like an old soul to me. Like he, everything he does is like he's just older than he is. The way he acts, and she'll hear him talk or whatever. And next thing you know, they're both singing over there the other day singing Jelly Roll, like Son of a Sinner. I'm like, where are y'all listening to this music at?
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with y'all? Uh-huh. But now they're to the age they're at the ages where they're just fighting and bickering.
Oh, I got you.
Like just, Dad, Wyatt's touching me.
Yeah.
Dad, Wyatt's looking at it. Y'all leave each other fucking alone.
I gave my sister's hell when I was growing up. Or don't let them watch no wrestling or Power Rangers or nothing like that. Wyatt's in there trying those moves.
I'm telling you, man. I told him how to put people in a chokehold, and he almost made me tap out the other day.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
He hit his wrist right there and was choking me out.
Oh my goodness.
And then now you go over, if you go and like try to mess with him, try to put him in a choke, he tucks his chin.
Right.
Next way he can't get your elbow in there.
Have you ever thought about getting him into martial arts or anything like that?
Yeah, but there's not I'm not really sure around here where to go. Like and
you'd have to travel for it.
Yeah, you'd have to go to like Wake Forest or Youngsville or Raleigh or somewhere to get a decent school. I feel like, but I feel like he would like that.
Yeah, I mean, who
anything
would?
combative, like
for sure. I would want to know that shit. You know what I mean? But I just don't have the time.
That's another thing you have to put time into. Which I mean, especially when you have kids, you have to pick and choose what it's going to go into. And don't get me wrong, it's a battle for me to have time to come in here most of the time, and I know that I'm sacrificing, probably at least 45 minutes of me seeing my kids every day, because they normally get home around 6:30 or whatever, it's 6:15, 6:30, and I'm not getting home until around 7, so I'm missing time with them, but they understand.
Yeah, you got to fill your cup up to fill theirs.
It's all, hey, you're getting a better version of me if I come home after here, you're getting a happier me, you're getting a not stressed out me.
A more confident
me. More confident me, just better all the way around. So even though they might miss a few minutes now, hopefully they'll realize later,
Oh, they will, as they should. Man's role, man's duty, like you said, is to provide. So
in Wyatt's eyes, it's crazy. He doesn't understand, because I'm leaving the house at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm coming home at 7. I'm gone for 14 hours. You know what I mean? He's like, your work sucks. I'm like, yeah, it kind of does, but it's just what you have to do,
When he's 30 years old, when he's your age, he's going to look back at his dad. He's going to like, my dad was working his ass off all those years, and I didn't understand it now, but God, do I appreciate it now.
I hope so,
He will. He will. If he's any kind of smart, which he is, he will understand all that stuff.
That's what it's all for.
That is what it's for. You're bargaining with the future right now, because if you weren't doing all that and you were living in shitty conditions, would he hate you more then or not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He'd be like, my dad, he was lazy. He sat on his ass and watched TV all day. And he'd be like, he just wouldn't respect you then.
That's right.
And
he'll be like, hey, at least he was trying.
Right. 100%.
Same thing I told him, as long as you try.
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate you doing this, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
Hey, you too. Thank you.
Yes, sir.